My friends at Radiolink sent me their latest transmitter to review, the T16D. They sent me the optional R16F receiver. They sent me the optional Express LRS module that operates up to 1 watt of power. And they sent me the optional Express LRS receiver. I want to thank them much for sending all these items for review. So I want to go through some of the specs, the things that come with the transmitter, some of the features, and then we'll power up the transmitter and go through the menu system and look at where all the options are that we're going to use on a regular basis. Okay. All right. So it has 16 channel, fully proportional channels. Channels 5 through 16 can be programmed. Spread spectrum, FHSS 67 channels, pseudo-random frequency hopping. The operating system it uses is free RTOS, the free real-time operating system, along with the LVGL GUI. Operating system is 7.4 volt to 18 volts. So it comes with a AA battery tray in the transmitter that uses 8 AA batteries, or you can use a 2S to 4S LiPo. So I have an 800 milliamp hour 2S LiPo in mine, or you can use an 18650 lithium battery. Okay, it does support the long range modules, and as I stated, I have the Express LRS module that will work with this transmitter. Control distance with the default protocol FHSS is 4,000 meters in the air, which is pretty darn good. The control distance for the long-range modules is going to depend on the receiver that you use and the transmitter that's built into the long-range module. Voice broadcast, you can set up unique, personalized, humanized voice broadcasts, so all that can be customized. Here's a long list of receivers that work with this transmitter. I think all of the Radiolink receivers that I have will work with this transmitter. Supported model types are plane, helicopter, glider, multi-rotor, car, boat, and robot. You can store up to 100 models in this and up to 16 sub-IDs. So you have the option of using multiple receivers in one aircraft or one vehicle. So that is going to be awesome. Customized alarms for low transmitter voltage, low receiver voltage, low model voltage, battery voltage, and low RSSI. It will work as a simulator, and it does also work in trainer modes, and comes with the optional R16F receiver, which I did receive. All right, it comes with a nice nylon carrying case for the transmitter. The foam is all, customized inside the case. It comes with a shoulder strap for the case. It comes with a lanyard for the transmitter. It comes with a nice color manual for the transmitter. It comes with a USB cable for charging and also for firmware updates with USB-A on one end, USB-C on the other. It comes with a hook and spring, so if you want to set your throttle stick at center all the time, for like helicopters, it comes with that. Here's a picture of the optional R16F receiver. You'll also notice that it has 2 pins there for a JST connector if you want to be able to get telemetry for your model flight battery or your vehicle battery. Here's a picture of the Express LRS module, the receiver. The receiver leads do need to be soldered up to it, so I will solder that up, and then I will attach a servo connector to the other end to patch it into a gyro, a Radiolink BIME or BIMD gyro. You also get the patch for XT60 connector. Comes with the JST lead that you can patch into the receiver for flight battery telemetry. Okay, so we're back to the beginning. All right, so let's go over and take a look at the transmitter, power it up, look at the most important features that we're all going to use from time to time on this transmitter. And then in the next video, we'll go through setting up our defaults, setting up our first model, and then we will take that model out and test it out with the new transmitter. All right, so I'll see you at the transmitter. Okay, let's power up our transmitter by holding down the center button here. Okay, so you notice this little padlock down here on the bottom? You use this dial here, you see what's highlighted in red is what's selected. So if I rotate this down to where it hits the padlock down here and I long press the center button on the dial, okay, so it's locked the padlock, which means that I can't get into the menu system. So that prevents you from accidentally changing something in the menu system. Okay, so if I long press it again, now I've unlocked it. Now I can get into the different functions. You'll notice that I have one aircraft set up on it. Up here in the top left-hand bar, it shows SU-27-01. I don't currently have anything bound up to it, so I'm not getting any reading on my RSSI here. My battery is a 2S 800 milliamp hour LiPo. It's showing currently 8.1 volts. That is accurate. I tested the voltage on the battery before I put it into the transmitter. You've got two timers showing up here. If you had RSSI telemetry, it would show it down here, your receiver voltage, and your flight pack or your model pack would show voltage there. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to go over the menus that vast majority of us are going to use on a regular basis. Okay, I think that's the most important things to go over first. All right, so one of the things that I like to go into frequently, especially when I'm setting up a model or changing something, is the channel monitor. Once you're in this main screen right here, if you go press your in button, it will put you right into your channel monitor. So here you can see the output of your channels, switches, if you've got switches set up for a specific channel, rudder, you'll get all that here. Press it one more time and you'll get a screen. If you had GPS telemetry coming to your transmitter, you would see it in this screen. One more press and we'll be back at the main screen. So to get to the main menu system, you're going to press your mode button up here and you'll see the four main menus: general settings, advanced settings, transmitter settings, and receiver settings. So let's go ahead and take a look at general settings here. And in general settings, this is another place where you can get to your monitor. When you're in one of your submenus, if you press your in button here, you'll go back, one level on your screen. Okay, if you need to reverse any channels, you will go here. You'll see that all my channels in the normal mode except for channel 3, which is my throttle, and it is reversed. With the Radiolink protocol, a Radiolink transmitter, and a Radiolink receiver, I think that you normally need to have channel 3 in reverse, that channel reverse, okay, just as a note. All right, let's go ahead and back out of that. Endpoints, if you need to modify any endpoints on any of your channels, and every once in a while I have had a need to do that. Channel speed, I've had to use this in the past, so if you're wanting to slow down the activation of a channel, like for flaps or something like that, maybe for retracts, retractable landing gear, you would do it here. You could set up your speed on the specific channel. You'll notice also that when there is more than one page to the submenu, you'll see it here. So if I select this right arrow, press the center button, I'll go to the second page, press it again, I'm back at the beginning, and then I press my end button, and I'm back out to the next higher level of the screen. Your aux channels, if you need to set up any of your aux channels, you do it in this screen. I do have my channel 5 set up on switch G, which is the switch that I normally use for my gyro mode, so I do have that set up here. Trims, I don't really have a necessity to go in unless you just want to look at trims, or if you want to set up sub trims. I do go into trims for that particular purpose, to set up sub trims. All right, your program mix. Of course, if you need to set up mixing on different channels for different things, you would do it from here. Your switch audio, if you want audio associated with the switch position, you can do that here.
Whenever it says null, whenever you see null, that just means that nothing is set and nothing is activated for that particular option. Okay. And then sensor broadcast. All right, advanced settings. Let's go into advanced settings. This is where you would set up your model type. I've got mine set up as a plane, but you can set up as a VTOL, a multi-rotor, helicopter, ground vehicle, boat, crane, and robot. So you have all those options available for different types of aircraft and vehicles. Your flight mode, if you need to set up a flight controller for different modes with GPS. Maybe you want to set up to loiter. Maybe you want to set up to hover. Maybe you have a different way of setting up failsafe. It looks like attitude hold. It looks like all that's available in here. Conditions, if you're wanting to set up, maybe when one switch is activated, perhaps you want to set up like different dual rates for different switch positions, increase or decrease your dual rates. You would do it here. You'll notice that you've got another screen here with multiple pages. So here you could set up a switch to change your endpoints, your channel speeds, your dual rate, and your curves. So a lot of functions that are already predefined for you. Your rates and your curve, of course, we're all going to be using this on a regular basis. Channel 1, which is aileron, it's showing that I've got it for exponent. You know, if you click this, you can go down channel 1, channel 2, channel 4, which is aileron, elevator, and rudder. Channel 3 is my throttle, so that's not available. And I've got it set up for expo, currently 90% dual rate, and expo at 50%. Okay, so anytime that you want to set up your different rates in expo for different channels, this is where you would do it. Throttle curve, if you need to set up a throttle curve, maybe for like a helicopter for a soft start, something like that, you could do it here. Throttle hold, there are two different options for throttle hold, okay? You can use the throttle hold as like a cruise control. Let's say you had a boat, or maybe we'll say 60%. Throttle is your cruising speed for your ground vehicle or for your aircraft. If you wanted to set up like a cruise control so you weren't having to manage the throttle, you could set that up on a switch. The other option that you have for throttle hold is you can set up as a throttle safety switch, which is what I have mine set up for. So I have switch F set up when it's in the down position is when it's active. And you can see the state shows it's active. And so if I move my throttle, I'm not getting any output. I've got my throttle set to 0. If I disengage my throttle safety switch, if you watch the state down here, you'll see that now the state is deactivated. So this throttle hold is no longer active. So now if I move my throttle, you can see that I'm getting the full range of my throttle now. Okay. And then if I reactivate switch F for my throttle safety, it's engaged once again, and I'm not getting any output. My throttle is set for 0 or minus 100 here, and I'm not getting any output. So I recommend that everyone set up a throttle safety switch, no matter what type of aircraft or vehicle you are using. And then if you needed to set up a VTOL, you would set it up here. All right, so transmitter settings. So model, this is where you will select your model. And if I select this, I can select it. I can change the type here. I can copy it if I want to copy it and then paste it into a new slot. If I were wanting to use it as a template or duplicate that model, if I want to rename it, instead of rename, they've got it set as rechristen, but that's what that means. If you want to rename the model, you would do it here. You could reset that model slot to the default, or you can cancel, which is what I'm going to do. And you've got 10 pages here, 10 models, so it will hold up to a maximum of 100 models. That is an awful lot of models. I don't think I'll ever run out of space. System settings, English, key and alarm, volume 75%, vibration alarm only, vibration intensity 80%. You'll see, once again, you've got multiple pages here. I've got my battery type set up for 2S. I've got my battery alarm set up for 7.2 volts, which is 3.6 volts per cell. If it gets down to 6.8 volts, I want it to power off. My brightness on my screen is 80%. My backlight is active for 3 minutes. Go to the last page. I've got an idle alarm set for 10 minutes. So if the transmitter hasn't been touched in 10 minutes, it's going to give me an alarm. If it hasn't been touched in 20 minutes, it's going to automatically shut down. So the way I see it, the way I've got it set up is I can't see a time where I'm not going to touch this transmitter in 10 minutes. But in case there was such an instance, it would beep at me to let me know that it's still on. If I don't hear it and I let it set idle for 20 minutes, which means I have forgotten to shut it off, then it will automatically shut off. So that's a great feature to have. Your stick mode, mine is mode 2, but if you want to change modes, you do it here. Also, calibration, if you want to calibrate the sticks on the transmitter, you would do it here, and I will be publishing another video on down the road to go over all these things. If you're wanting to set up coach mode and student mode, you would do it from here. Also, I wanted to let you know that a Radiolink has a wireless cable that you would attach to the transmitter, for the coach transmitter, the transmitter that's actually going to be bound up to the aircraft or the vehicle. And you can attach a receiver to it so that it's actually wireless. So you're not tethered. You don't have the two transmitters physically tethered. And then the student transmitter would actually bind up to the receiver that's attached to the trainer port on the transmitter. I think that is really, really cool. So that way you're not having to worry about, being tethered to each other. Okay. So I think that's a great feature. I'm definitely going to be getting one of those cables on down the road to set that up. All right, timers. I always set up timers on mine. I've got mine set up for, counting up. For this particular model, I've got it set for my flight alarm set for 5 minutes, 15 seconds. And then I have my momentary switch set up for resetting my timer. Okay. And then you have a second page here for a second timer if you want to set up additional timer for it. Okay. Switch settings. Let me see here. Okay, so one cool feature is there have been instances where I needed to use a 3-position switch as a 2-position switch, and I have done that in the past. But here you can actually redefine a 3-position switch as a 2-position switch so it doesn't read the center position. There are a lot of instances where that comes in very handy. I think that's a really cool feature to have. It's got a second page here because you have more switches available. Your boot settings, if you want to disable the boot animation, you can do it here. And your theme, if you want to change the background color on your theme. And your about. So here you'll see the Radiolink URL. You'll see the hardware version, the software version. If you need to do a system reset on it or a factory reset, you can do it from that screen. All right, let's back out. Our last menu is the RF settings. And the RF settings, right now I have it for the internal module, but you can add external modules to this. So if you need to select the external module, that's where you will do it. You've got 3 different versions of the FHSS protocol. Right now I'm on V1. Now, if you look at this, it shows down here at the bottom, FHSS V1 protocol, PWM output resolution level is 2048. Okay, so the receivers that I'm using, that's the resolution they have. That's why I'm on V1. If you select V2, now it's showing you that the resolution is 4096. So if you have a receiver that's capable of 4096 resolution and you've got it set for that, then you would select the V2 protocol. 2.1, if you look, is based on version 2 with the addition of nest boat function. Okay, I don't know what that is, and I'm pretty sure I'm never going to use it, but you definitely be using V2, and I think all the receivers that I have are going to be 2048 resolution. So I have it set for V1. You can set your servo speed. Mine is at 14 millisecond. You can set it for 4. You can set it for 3. If you need to enable a sub ID, you can do it here. You can enable sub ID. I don't need it because I'm just going to be using a single receiver. And then here, if you want to set your sub ID, you can do it here. And I think you can have up to 16 sub IDs. So if you're binding up to multiple receivers in one aircraft or vehicle at the same time, you can set that up here, giving one receiver one sub ID and the second receiver a different sub ID. Okay, that is really cool, and that's another feature that I'm definitely going to be testing out. Okay, your sensors, if you want to set up additional sensors for RSSI, your receiver voltage, your model voltage, all of that stuff you would set up here. And then, of course, your fail-safe. Everybody needs to set up their fail-safe. So I have all of my control surfaces set up at 0%, which means that if fail-safe kicks in, it's going to center. It's going to center all my control surfaces, all except for channel 3, which is my throttle. I have my throttle set for -100, which is going to shut down the motor. It's going to shut the throttle completely down, which is what I want. If fail-safe were to ever kick in, I want it to set all my control surfaces to neutral, and I want it to shut down the motor, and that's the way I have mine set up. I would recommend everybody set up a fail-safe, okay, and always have it shut off the motor. And don't forget to test it. Okay, so that goes over all 4 of the main menus, along with the sub-menus that the vast majority of us are going to use.
In the next episode with this transmitter, we'll be setting up our first model. So don't forget to tune into that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Tinkerz Lab.